the Carolina Panthers. Unanswered question would have to be, have they done enough for Bryce Young to have success? And then the sub question is, what is success for the Carolina Panthers? I guess if we're batting it around, you never know what can happen. This season in Carolina is less about wins and losses. And I don't mean to sound, make them sound, I don't know, not exciting, but this is all about helping dig Bryce Young out of something and elevating him above the fray. Development is what I would say this entire thing is about. So speaking to Coach Canales, not long ago, right before free agency opened in March, they were still figuring things out. And I asked him straight up, Bryce, what's your deal? What is your plan specifically? And I don't think I'd get this good of an answer on how he's going to help get the best out of his QB and help him develop.
I'm going to lean on his poise. One of the first things I mentioned about Bryce is when you watch him play in college football and you saw him in those big games on TV, whether it was early in the season or whether it was later in the season against really good opponents, if you look behind the face mask, the eyes are the same. His countenance is the same. And he's just cold-blooded. And so those things were what really, encouraged me to say this is going to be the top guy coming out because he's the guy. He is him. Is that what people say nowadays?
He is him.
Yeah. So,
sure. You just called Bryce Young cold-blooded. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I like hearing that.
And so now it's about just giving him tools, giving him the green light to use those tools in an appropriate fashion and playing a brand of offensive football that we're proud of.
I think Canales is going to get the best out of him, Mr. Put on some weight, Bryce Young. You talk about adding tools and pieces, like his coach is saying. Clearly, he's been working in tandem with his GM, Dan Morgan, this offseason. And there's some notable additions. They bring in coaches offensive-mindedly, which I love. They trade up to get Xavier Legette in the first round. They trade for Steelers receiver Deontay Johnson, who literally nobody has more room for growth in public perception, stat sheet, court of public opinion than Deontay Johnson. He doesn't have to do much to sort of be seen in a completely different light. And he's talented. Let's get the best out of him. Let's, rewrite his narrative while we're at it. They invested in the O-line in free agency. They get a couple guards. They got Robert Hunt. They get out of Seattle. They get Damian Lewis as well. So I think when free agency started, I was a little like, or go get a receiver. They did it, right? And it's a huge difference from what Bryce walked into last year. And of course, he got hit so much that you got to think getting him offensive line help is going to be a huge thing. It sort of filled holes that I'm happy with. The receivers, are they good enough? That's the question. Is Adam Thielen, is that enough? Is that is he your number one? Can he be your number one? With Johnson, with the Rook, are they improved enough to have something cooking this year? I'm trying to figure out what would be, and I'd love for Panthers fans to tell me. I'll ask Luke Kuechly when he comes on next, time. What is the ceiling for this team? What's the realistic expectations? I don't know if I expect them to make the playoffs. I think it's Atlanta and Bucks duking it out the entire way. Saints can be squeaky and tough, and so I like them. I think it's more about develop and protect your core. Don't ruin your quarterback, and then it's also just give some hope to Carolina and make it exciting. So you guys saw the odds. Go do your thing.